Hi everybody. Happy Friday. Long week, hey? Me too. It's been a real long week. A lot of stuff going on that I can't really get into right now, but I'll explain more later. So I'm trying to put on a happy face and be strong through some really traumatic things, and I'm working on fixing them, and it's going to be a group effort. But I still want to help others, and I have a message to get out to you guys. And I know it's Friday. Awesome. Happy Friday, right? You've worked all week. You earned your money. Now maybe you have a little left over. You can go out, let your hair down, or stay in, watch a movie, read a book, whatever it is that you do. So, happy Friday to everybody. All right. Are you sick of me yet? No? Okay, good. Because I'm staying here. I'm here. So, hi. Love you guys. Okay, as you know, I look at my notes here. So if you see me looking, that's what I'm doing. And I want to do the usual intro, right? Welcome. Let's see here. And the usual, you know what I have for you. It's always free. And it's free information. Okay? And remember, knowledge is power. So by watching this video, you are going to gain some power. Okay? Your time is valuable. This I know. And so is the information in this video. So stay tuned. You're going to like what I have to say. It's an interesting topic. It's an important topic. And you need to know this to be safe. Especially since the weekend is upon us. Okay? I'm not doing anything. Actually, I just, I colored my hair tonight, trying to go for a different color a little bit. And I used a box, and I think it turned out okay, but it's still wet, so you guys excuse me. Check out the shirt. I got a different one here. Ta-da. Remember, I'm not trying to show you my boobs. All right, that's not MTV. That's MKE. Right? That stands for those of you who've been watching me, MKE stands for Mind Control Experiment. No, just kidding. It's Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Milltown, MKE. That's where we're from. Wonderful. It's a great city on a great lake. Wonderful economic opportunities here. I think we like to refer to ourselves as the Little Chicago. I don't know. I maybe heard that. Maybe somebody just made that up. Sometimes people want you to, they say stuff, but they really made it up themselves or something, and it's not really a thing. I don't know if it's a thing. I heard that from somebody, that Milwaukee's like a little Chicago, but I think it is. I've been to Chicago before. It's okay, but I like MKE. It's good here. It's cold, though. It's cold, but it's good. So, all right, let's get to it, shall we? This is not going to be too long. I always say that, and then it is. Okay, so carve out a little bit of time for this info, because it's important. It covers safety and what you need to be aware of. So what we are going to talk about tonight is the subject of, we've been covering this a while, but this one, we're going to talk about it again, just a little bit. Remote neural monitoring, fascinating subject. And I'll get you caught up on that. Here's the key points that we're going to cover about remote neural monitoring and how it is used to in the community now as a weapon, okay, amongst perpetrators to put people on. It's a slang. It's called being put on remote. Okay, get it? Remote neural monitoring on remote. Okay, this is a thing. This is a real thing, and it's a dangerous thing. So it's important that you know about it so that you can protect yourself. Okay, I'm gonna tell you about it, and then I'm gonna tell you. Let's go over these key points. Sometimes it helps to have a visual. I know you guys are smart, and you know what's going on, but still, here's a visual. So key points: remote neural monitoring. This is what we're gonna cover. What being put on remote is. Okay, you don't want it, and how it leads to tracking, which can lead to trafficking. It can lead to tracking an individual because they have, constant access to you. And then it can eventually, most likely, oftentimes, it leads to rape. Okay? And this is advanced technology that's out in the community. Okay? So people have a hold of this. Who has a hold of it? Okay, well, that's the second topic, the key point. There is a pyramid, and I'll refer to that. A pyramid of power, right? Pyramid of perps. In society, there is a hierarchy of power, and in our lives. So different people at different levels of the power pyramid, different perps. High level white collar perps, low level blue collar perps, perps with no jobs, perps that, have drug addictions, perps that have, regular lives, just a little maybe perversion or depraved. Anyways, so you get the point, but we're going to break this down a little bit as to who is doing this and how they're getting a hold of it, because it's advanced technology. That's why it's important that you know, because when I was looking for information, it wasn't readily available. So use this video in your tool belt, okay? It can save you from getting to the point of being tracked and possibly most likely getting raped from it. I'll explain how, okay? Also, the last thing we're going to finish up with is some risks, the risks of, how to avoid the risks of getting put on remote in the first place, mainly watching your association and watching your environment very closely. Taking nothing for granted. Tonight is Friday. Let your hair down, have a little drink, go dancing. I get it. That stuff is fun. You deserve it. And the true God, he wants us to be happy. But you also have to be safe. Because remember, there are perps out there. You're having a good time. They're praying. Okay? They're looking for new Vicks. Let me help you so you don't become one. All right? And then we're going to talk about, unfortunately, if you've gotten to the point where you're already, somebody got you and put you on remote, it's not the end of the world. But I'll show you the signs of it that are indicators that that's what's happening to you. And it's actually a very scary thing, especially if you don't know what's going on, because it's a technology-based, psychotronic weapon, that's used on you to surveillance you and track you. And so if you don't know it, it can seem like you're going crazy because a lot of people aren't aware of this technology. So that's why I'm here. All right. So here's the key points again. Let me get the picture right. I don't know if you guys want to get out your notepad and pen and paper or whatever, or just put it up here, right? I trust you. You got it. You can always rewind it too if you need to. All right, let me get the camera right. There we go. All right, so again, remote neural monitoring. I have made several videos on this, and it's a fascinating subject indeed. So if you want, take a look at my older videos. I made them just recently, but my previous videos, some of them are long, just a FYI. So maybe carve out a chunk of time where you can, focus a little bit. And I apologize for making them so long. I'd like to make them shorter, but it's just so much information and it's so very interesting. It's hard to condense it. So if you want to get informed on remote neural monitoring, advanced technology, and how it's being used, what it is, the history of it, go look at my previous videos, okay? And then hit like or comment maybe. You don't have to comment, okay? It's doing a lot, unless you really want to. But, maybe hit like and subscribe to my channel if you want. Don't feel pressured. But if you feel that you're getting information, let me know, show some love. If you got a channel you want me to see, I will look at it, show it, tell me it, put it in the comments, okay? Let's help each other. Knowledge is, you receive free, so give free. We receive knowledge, right, from our Creator and from people around us, and we are supposed to share that knowledge freely, okay? So that's what we're doing here. Remote neural monitoring. Again, I apologize. I'm going to be looking at my notes here. Actually, I'm going to put them, no, I'm not. Sorry, I always struggle with this. Do I look? I'm going to put them right here. Okay. So, we're just going to do a quick recap of what remote neural monitoring is. It has been around since the 1970s. That's when it was originally created by, a lot of the credit goes to two doctors. I think they were neuroscientists or doctors, but a higher level one. They were at Stanford they were research doctors, at Stanford University, and it was part of the MK Ultra program. MK Ultra stands for mind control. So they wanted to figure out exactly what the name says, how to remotely monitor the neural activity of human brains. So, and the neural activity is basically, thoughts and emotions of humans. So your real thoughts, your real emotions. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? They wanted to know. And they figured it out how to do it. And they figured out how to do it remotely. That's the key here. Because back in the day, you had to have, if they wanted to, read your thoughts and emotions through your brain, right? This is your organic This is your organic brain. This is, you know, an organ living and breathing. This is what's up here. This is us. This is our hopes, dreams, and desires. This is it all right here, okay? And mind control starts there. So, but when you think of a brain, also think of it in this form. You know, it's a living organ, okay? But it's also an electromagnetic organ. You know, it runs off of electromagnetic frequency. That's why when you go to the hospital, you know, say somebody has a stroke and they want to see where their brain was damaged, or, you know, see, you know, they would run and something that's called an EEG. Okay, EEG is acronym for electroencephalogram. Electro because the brain has electricity in it, and encephalo for the brain, referring to the brain, and gram referring to measuring it. So to get it on your heart would be an EKG. Electro, there's electricity again, cardio for heart, and gram to measure it. Okay, so they can measure the heart activity and they can measure the brain activity with an EEG. Okay, this was all done in the 1970s. They figured out how to do it remotely. So you don't need to be at the hospital and having them put those electrodes on your head to have them read your thoughts and emotions. They can do it. Just going to do this. They can do it remotely. So they can be on a different side of town. They can be downstairs. They can be in a different city or in a different state. And they can read your thoughts and emotions. Fascinating. How do they do that? Well, the brain and the body and the environment runs off of something that's called electromagnetic frequency. EMF. That's electro. There's the word again, electricity. Magnetic. Okay. And then frequency. You know, frequencies, every time you think a thought or have an emotion, which through the course of a day or even in 5 minutes, we have a lot. And those can all be read out on an EEG. And what the EEG is reading is the frequency, the electromagnetic frequency that the brain makes when it thinks thoughts and emotions. Okay? So remember that word, EMFs. EMFs are important because every thought and every emotion is an actual EMF, an electromagnetic frequency that can be measured and read out. Why is that important? Because every thought and every emotion it turns into a behavior, right? And I'll give the example again. I like ice cream, so then you see me eating ice cream. Okay, I think I have valuable information I want to share, so the behavior, then you see me doing a video sharing it. Okay, an emotion. I feel happy, so I'm going to sing. Me singing the song would be or me singing the tune or whatever would be the observable behavior. So that is that is the fascination of remote neuromonitoring, is you're remotely monitoring neural activity, thoughts and emotions of the human brain, the human psyche. You know, wouldn't that be interesting? Don't you want to know what people are thinking sometimes, you know? Maybe a guy you're dating or, you know, want to date, you know, does he really like me? How much does he like me? You know, does he like this outfit? Da-da-da-da-da. That'd be kind of interesting, wouldn't it? So you can see their curiosity. Yeah. But that's not what they made it for. Partially, you know, it's all fun and games. But it's also very, you know, with things that are so powerful. We're talking the ability to read and monitor human psyche. You know, that's our soul. That's who we are, right? That's a very powerful tool. And that, you know, to read your own, you know, or to, you know, is one thing. But then for somebody else to have the ability to read another person's, okay, now we're getting into the realm of mind control, okay? Which is the ultimate goal, is to get mass control, you know, get people in a mass population on mind control. Okay, this is one of the tools that is being used to do that. Remote neural monitoring. This was created back in the 70s. Remember, those researchers, if you're interested, the names are Dr. Pineo and Dr. Robert G. Malik. Okay, but forget that. Remember, we want to talk about it locally, how it's being used in the community for tonight and for this weekend and for the holidays, for you guys to stay safe. Okay, that's what this video is about. But I wanted to recap on what that means, okay, so that you understand the power of it and the, you know, why am I talking about it? Why is it so important? Why does it affect my safety? Well, because it's a powerful psychotronic weapon, okay? The ability to see somebody's thoughts and emotions is a powerful thing, okay? Stay on track here. Don't mind me looking for my key points here. Did I put them? Oh, yes. Right in the beginning, right where they should be. Okay. So, another part of the, right now in 2018, as of today, well, back then, okay, let's go back to the 70s. Ooh, take your little time machine. Okay, so those doctors, what they figured out was that they were able to create something called BCI. That's B like boy, C like cat, I like igloo. Okay, that stands for brain-computer interface. Okay, you're taking a human brain, you're taking a computer or a device, you know, tablet, phone, whatever, and you're interfacing the two. So you're marrying them, right? You're connect, because again, the brain operates off of EMFs, which that, you know, keyword is frequencies. The word frequencies and signals are interchangeable. So the brain operates on signals, frequencies, EMFs. So does the body. So does the environment, right? This computer broadcast, this Wi-Fi broadcast, that's an EMF, that's a frequency. Same thing with your cell phones. Those operate on frequencies. Your radio operates on frequencies. The TV programming runs on frequencies because it's all broadcasted. You're sending and receiving signals. Signals, frequencies, same thing, potato, potato, right? So back in 1970s, those two doctors with their research, I highly recommend looking into it. It's interesting. Or look at my old videos. I explain it. They're not too long. You'd be surprised. I mean, it's an interesting how they got to this point. So brain-computer interface back in the 70s. So then you wonder, we were seeing all those TV shows, Bionic Woman, The $6 Million Man, or was it $6 billion? I don't know. Something, $6 million maybe. 6 billion. You guys know what I'm talking about. It was all with brain-computer interface. You know, even on the Star Wars, you know, Luke getting that new arm and everything, and you know, being able to use it. You know, so they knew back then that this was, you know, that they had the capability. Wonderful, wonderful, because it can make lives better. It can also be used as a tool of warfare. Yeah. Okay. So safety. That's what we want. I want you guys to be safe tonight. So yeah, with the brain-computer interface, they figured that back out in the 1970s. So fast forward till today, 2018. I just want to show you one last picture here, or one more picture to give you the idea of how the brain operates off of frequency signals. Okay, that's the brain. That's those wavy lines are frequencies or signals, and the brain can receive them. And the brain can also, it makes them when it makes thoughts. Oh, that was an important part of the research in the 70s, was they figured out how to read thoughts and emotions remotely, but then they also created a machine that could recreate, you know, those frequencies, these signals, because they're just signals. And they recreated them based off of thoughts and emotions, and can send them back in to the human brain, okay? So yeah, not only can your thoughts be read, but they can also be sent back into you. So what does that mean? That means that at any given moment, okay, they know the code for when I think of ice cream. I want ice cream. They know the code for that. So what do? They can send the code into me. My brain can't tell the difference between an outside signal and the one it made. It's like a phone that picks up any open Wi-Fi. You know, have you ever seen your phone doing that? You look down and it's like open, searching for Wi-Fi. You're like, no, you know, syncing, Bluetooth. You're like, no, don't sync with it. You know, who are you syncing with? You know, you want to yell at your phone. What are you doing? The brain is like that, unfortunately. It has no firewall. As wondrous as it is, there's no security McAfee or something we can put in our brain. Like, do not take signals that are not from, you know, the vessel owner, you know, me. Brain doesn't understand that. The brain just picks up signals. So anyways, that apparatus that Dr. Malik made allowed them to send back in the signals to subjects. And those signals were emotions and, you know, thoughts, specific emotions, specific thoughts. So you understand why this is a powerful technology, okay? And what I'm getting to tonight is that people in the community have access to this technology. Yeah, right now, right here, today, there are people that have access to this, people that are living right in the community, okay? So you don't want them to get you put on remote, because then they'll have access to that, all right? So just to recap, the brain is like a giant antenna, receiving signals, you know, making signals, receiving them, right? We're humans, we're awesome, but there's no firewall. Wasn't supposed to be, right? We shouldn't have to have a firewall. It's just kind of common courtesy. Please don't look at my brain. Please don't read my thoughts. You know, kind of like, you know, nakedness. Please don't look at me naked. You know, when you're in the locker room, when you're, you know, you don't like sit there and stare at somebody, right? You're just kind of like, oh, okay, they're naked. Let me avert my eyes. You know, that's kind of how this technology, like just because you can doesn't mean that you necessarily should. But now remember, all of us don't think on the same type of boundary levels. All of us weren't, you know, there's a criminal element in society. Okay, that's just, it always has been, it always will be. So I want to, knowledge is power. I'm telling you what's going on so that you can avoid it. It also needs to be more of a discussion on it. So that's what we're doing tonight. Sticking with me. Good job, guys. Good job, good job. I know it's Friday. It's Friday. Wonderful. I got a treat for you at the end of this, at the end of our, you know, this little lesson thing. Okay, I got a treat. You're gonna like it. I think you'll like it. Okay, so fast forward 2018, remote neural monitoring. We figured out it can read thoughts and emotions, and it can send those thoughts and emotions back in. Okay, wonderful, you know, powerful. What else can it do? Well, now in 2018, remote neural monitoring actually has the ability to log into your brain signature. Each person has a unique brain signature, like fingerprints. Okay, so everybody has their own, of course. And if they get a hold of your brain signature, they can log in to your brain signature, as it were, log into your psyche, you, broadcast into you, force a broadcast in, and gain access to your visual cortex. Okay, I always point to the back of my head. Okay, here's your eyes, right? When you think of vision, you think of here. Okay, actually, the vision is controlled in the brain. And you think it'd be in the front of the brain, right? But no, it's actually in the back. It's in the back of the brain. Okay, your visual cortex. So, if a person can log in to your visual cortex in the brain, because it's all signals, remember, you're using a signal to, you know, to manipulate another signal. Okay, the brain operates on signals, EMFs. So does your body. When you send a signal to your body part to move, that's an EMF. And so does the environment, right? That's how we're broadcasting this, is through an EMF. It's all frequencies. So nowadays, in 2018, with remote neural monitoring, they can actually log in and have access to your visual cortex, also your audio cortex. I know we're used to thinking these are ears, and they are. They are. But the audio cortex is in the brain. Okay, so these are, you know, these are kind of like decorations. The actual hearing is inside of the brain. Same thing with smell and taste and touch and all that. So yeah, those, also your motor cortex, right? That's in your brain. That can be logged into. I want to show you a picture of the brain and the different areas, so you get a visual of what I'm talking about. What, you know, because different parts of the brain control different things. So, visual cortex, as I was saying, it's the pink. It's all the way there in the back. There's the brainstem. Your audio cortex is right there, kind of by the ear, towards the bottom, you know, middle of the brain lobes, you know, right around the temple area. Not surprising. Okay, but the visual, again, that's in the back. And then you have the motor, okay, which is kind of on the back part of the front or the front part of the back lobes. Okay, but you understand the point here. The gist is that all these different parts of the brain control different functions: audio, visual, you know, movement, because motor is all movement, right? So here's another one to show you. I thought this was like a really neat map of the brain. Okay, this is just more colorful and more detailed than that one. Same idea though. You know, there's, excuse me, there's the, oh, yeah. It's okay, get it together. All right, there's your vision center in the back. There's the brain stem. There's memory processing. Ooh, that's a big chunk. It's in the lower half. Okay, you see why it would be so big, because we got just a lot of storage, right? Our brain is like a computer. We need to store stuff. So, and then you have your hearing right there, kind of by the temple area. You're picturing this, and then there's your taste. There's your touch right towards the top there. There's movement. What else? Speech, smell, decision-making, attention, planning. That's all in the front. So a lot of mind control, a lot of mind control research is done when they, you know, pulse the brain or whatnot. A lot of it's done towards the front half. Affects those things. So again, on the market now, in order to, so just want to reiterate. In the 70s, we talked about what they can do. Now in 2018, they also have access, if they get your brain signature, right? That wonderful thing that gives like a code to your brain. If they get access to that, then depending on what level, they can have access to your visual cortex and your audio cortex and your motor cortex. What does that mean? That means that they can see what you see. They can hear what you hear. They can also send, signals to affect your movement. Okay? You become a walking avatar, which would seem cool, but not, who's controlling it? Who's behind the screen? Who's behind the computer? Technically, you're the person. You should control your vessel at all times. You and only you, right? Control your own. That's the way that's the way it's supposed to be, and it always has been. Times are changing, though. Told you this was interesting. So that brain signature. And this can be illegally sold to different entities, different people. We'll go over that a little bit when I explain who. Now remember, all this can be done, reading thoughts, reading emotions, sending thoughts, sending emotions back in, having access to your visual, audio, and motor cortex. This is all be able to be done in real time. Okay? So that means if you think a thought, poof, as soon as you thought it, if somebody has that remotely neural, has you on remote neural monitoring, they can read your thoughts in real time. So there's no lag. They don't have to sit and wait, okay? Real time. Freaky fast, like Jimmy John's, right? Freaky fast. Yeah, it is freaky, right? It's okay, though. Let's move on. All right. Our environment is saturated with EMF. So I just want to show you a picture to illustrate that point so you get the idea. Okay, look at this picture. It's just showing what you already know. There's a tower. Looks like a drone. There's another tower. And all these little wave symbols. All these wave patterns that are illustrated in the picture are symbolizing, EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies. That, again, why are they important? Our brain makes them. Every thought and emotion is an electrical magnetic frequency. Every movement in our body, because remember, our brain has to send the signal to the body part to move. That's why when soldiers, go to war and they lose a leg or an arm, they get a new prosthetic limb. Nowadays, they can get a chip put in their brain, and that way that chip can send the signal to their arm or leg, the prosthetic one, and move it, which is a good thing, right? You don't want the old days where you just had to have a hook or just a plastic thing and you couldn't use it. That's, it's no good if you want to brush your teeth or crack an egg or drink a beer or something, or drink a water or a juice or whatever, So yeah, EMFs, that is how everything is run. The brain, the body, and our environment. Okay, it's all around. Signals. Alrighty, moving along. So you guys understand remote neural monitoring, the power of it, okay? It's technically a psychotronic weapon because remember, you're monitoring. So one way to look at it is monitoring is also a word for surveillance, okay? Monitoring, surveillance, same thing, potato. Knowing that this technology is a surveillance tool or a monitoring tool, technically it's a weapon, to be used on the enemy, whoever is deemed the enemy, okay? That's what it's for, okay? And to control. So knowing this, I want to let you guys know that if you get put on remote, okay, somebody gets access to your brain signature illegally, obviously nobody's going to give it away, so this has to be being done illegally. They get a hold of that. They are then able to track you, okay, from the inside out. Because remember, your visual cortex, they will have access to that. They don't need to know where you're at. Where's the camera? Is it in the, where is it? Is it a little camera? Is it hidden in the wall? Is it hidden in the side? No, the camera is you, right? The camera's inside you because that is the capability, advanced technology. I know it sounds incredible, but that's where we're at. They were able to do this, they were able to monitor thoughts and emotions and send them back way back in the 70s. This technology has been being worked on, and we are at a pivotal point. It's advanced. So This capability exists. Okay? And it allows you, if you get put on remote, to be tracked from the inside out. Okay? And that's why I say it will eventually, more likely than not, lead to sexual assault. Why is that? Well, because, first of all, it's illegal to have access to somebody's remote neural monitoring. Unless, of course, this is warfare and you're, warfare. We're not talking warfare. We're talking, living and working and breathing in the community. Just living your life. If somebody gets access to your remote neural monitoring, it's illegal. Okay? And so that tells you right off the bat that you're dealing with somebody that has a perpetrator mentality, a criminally minded person. Not that people can't change. I'm not trying to be harsh. But if they get a hold of that, they're a danger to you. You're in danger. Because many times it can and it will lead to sexual assault. Let me go deeper. All right? Just remember that. Because again, this is a surveillance tool. This is a stalker's dream. They used to have to hide in bushes, and work for it a little bit, really look to find out where you're at. Call your family, have other people looking out for them to figure out where you were and who you're with and what you're doing. Now, those days are gone. All they got to do is have your remote neural monitoring now. They can have access to you 24/7 from the inside out. Yes. And you're probably thinking, oh, only high-level people. That sounds like advanced technology, Sherry. I don't think everybody can get a hold of that. Let me present to you the pyramid of power. Ta-da! Let me show you visual cue, okay? Just a pyramid. I'm not super into pyramids, okay? I'm not, but for the illustration and for making a point, it actually, and for what it represents, it's actually very accurate, okay? So pyramid, right? It starts at the top, lateral, whatever, equilateral triangle, whatever they call it. Okay, pyramid. Let me not get fancy. Okay, just keep it simple. You have a pyramid here. The highest power is at the top, with Jehovah God obviously being way up here above the pyramid. Thankfully, right? That's why we say the saying, thank God. We're saying, thank Jehovah God. And I say Jehovah because that's his name. If you want to research it, go ahead. That's his name, so I will be using it. Okay, so now the power is way up here, right? And then you slowly go down, 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 down. Not that, we're lower on the bottom, but as far as power is what I'm saying. Okay, we're talking power, money and power, right? Okay, so who would be at the top? Okay, it doesn't matter, too, because now we're talking, in this scenario, perpetrators with power, okay? So we're talking criminally, I hate to say it, but, this is true. This is serious. Criminally minded people with access to advanced technology to monitor you from the inside out, to track you, and to, hang on a second, let's pause. One thing that this technology can do, how would they rape you? How just because they can track you, how can they end up raping you? Well, here's the thing with this technology. Remember, it operates on your signals in your brain. There is a way when you get into a certain sleep state with this. Probably can be done while you're awake too, but that's too obvious. So usually it's done while you're sleeping. What can be done with this technology is that the person who has access to remote neural monitoring, your brain signature, remember, your brain operates on signals. They got access to that broadcast signal. They're sending in their broadcast, overriding your own broadcast. Dangerous. What that can do now is that can actually put you into an induced state of consciousness. Yes. So when this is supposed to be used, this is technology that can be used for surgeries. Okay, so think of if you're having open heart surgery or your leg or something, you need to be really knocked out so you don't wake up and so you're not in pain. Okay, that's what this technology can be used for, because it can put you into a state that you cannot and will not wake up out of until they switch the broadcast. So do you understand how serious this is? You can be, as a single woman or man or whomever, elderly, young, older, teenager, maybe your mom's letting you stay, you think you're safe. I'm awake, I'll hear if somebody comes in, I'll protect myself, da-da-da. Well, the problem with this technology that makes it so very dangerous, is the fact that when you're sleeping, it can put you into an induced state of consciousness that you cannot wake up out of. Let that sink in for a moment, okay? You're home. It's Friday. You're gonna, color your hair, play on the computer, do your homework, eat some dinner, talk to your boyfriend online, or, call him on the phone, talk to your friends, talk to your family, call your mom, call your sister, call your cousin, call your aunt, whatever it is that you do, living your lives, okay? Guys too, whatever it is you do, living your lives, okay? Now you're getting ready. You live alone. A lot of people live alone nowadays. You're getting ready to call it a night. You're tired. You worked hard. You paid your rent. You've got your groceries. The house is clean. You're good. You're not hurting nobody. You're not doing anything. You get ready. You get in the shower. You want to be clean when you go to bed, right? And so I was always taught. I'll get into it later, what's happening right now. But, okay. You're getting ready to go to bed. You're putting on your pajamas. You took a shower. And you go to lay down and you go to sleep. If someone has your remote neural monitoring and has you on remote, they can wait until you get into a specific state of sleep, log into your brain, force a broadcast into your brain, and put you into an induced state of consciousness. Unconsciousness, okay? You'll be unconscious, not just sleeping. You start off sleeping, but it quickly becomes you're unconscious, okay? So when that happens, guess what they're going to do next? Well, if they're that crazy and they're that criminally minded that they've actually put you into an induced state, because remember, this could be dangerous. You're putting somebody to sleep in an induced state of sleep. This is not just sleep. This is an alternate state of consciousness. Okay, so these people have no scruples. If they're willing to do that to you and take the risks, what if you were to have a seizure? What if you were to have a heart attack? This is something serious. And when you're in that induced state, what do you think they're going to do? Come and say hi to you? Hi, we just wanted to put you under. How you doing? You're unconscious. You're laying there. That's not what they're using it for. They're going to rape you. They will. It's been proven. It's happened to a lot of people. Of course they would. We're talking criminals. Okay? We're talking the ability that they should not have to put you into an induced state of consciousness. Like I said, these people aren't just coming to say hi, brought you a cake, cleaned your house for you. Well, in our scenario, the house is already clean. We brought you some goodies. Right? No. They're there to hurt. They're there to rape. And it usually won't just be a one-person rape. No, they got this equipment. It's a group effort. I'm going to gang rape you. Man or woman. Because remember, why? Why would they do this? Because they can. Because they have the technology now that enables them to do so. This is a psychotronic weapon. Very powerful. Okay? That's how it leads to rapes. Okay, I wanted to make sure that I made that very, very clear. Okay? Now, you want to do more research on electromagnetic frequencies and how they work in the brain, the body, and the environment. And then if you want to do research on remote neural monitoring with the specific research, the doctors who did their research on it at Stanford University, their names are Dr. George Pineo. He created the Dictionary of Human Thoughts and Emotions, the first one back in the 70s. And Dr. Robert G. Malik, who made the apparatus that is able to send signals back into the human brain that have specific thoughts and emotions. The apparatus was patented in 1976. You want to do your research? Start there, okay? Fascinating, okay? And we're living in some interesting times. So now that you know the dangers and the risks of this remote neural monitoring and what it can do, again, we're going to get back to who's doing it. Who has access to this again, right? It's such a high level technology. Goodness, you got to be like part of the space team or something to have access to this, don't you, Sherry? Right? Our neighborhood people don't have access to this. Jimmy John down the street or Leroy or Jose or, Steve and the guys in West Dallas, Corey and them, they don't have access to this, do they? No. Okay. Remember to think of it this way, just simply, okay? There exists a power hierarchy, okay, with the most power and control and money at the top, and then, you know, as it, you know, going down in levels. Down, 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 up, 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 down, down, down. Power, 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 money, and control, right? That's what everybody wants. Everybody wants to rule the world. Everybody doesn't, but a lot of people do, okay? A lot of people. Not most of us, but I shouldn't say a lot. Well, a lot. Because it's a percentage, and there's a lot of people, period. So then if you take that percentage of people, then it would be a lot. But most of us do not want to do this. That's why this message is for us. For those of us who do not want to be mind controlled and put on something like on remote neural monitoring. We don't want that, right? Nobody wants to be raped at home in their bed. Okay? Or wherever, or drug out of the house and raped. You know, this is what's capable now. Okay, I digress. So the pyramid is the power of hierarchy. How it works is at the very top is the power. So that's your corporations, you know, ones with the big pockets, big money, right? You know, those are at the top. Then underneath them, you got your government people. Not everybody in the government who works in the government is, you know, partaking in this. Okay, there's some really good people that are working in the government trying to make a difference. Okay, so don't think, you know, when they say government, that all government is bad. All government is not bad. Some people in the government are bad. Only some. Some are very good. We are, I think, pretty fortunate right now to have a regular, decent government, and we pay respect to them as God chooses them as our leaders. Anyways, that's my little spiel. That's what I was taught. That's, you know, it is what it is. Okay, so we should be thankful we live in more or less peaceful times right now. But stuff is a-brewing, right? This remote neural monitoring. Okay, so government. Who's all in the government? Well, you got your federal, right? You got your state. That's the governors, right? And the, you know, your state capital and all of them, and all senators and congressmen, you know. Then you have your local, right? Then you got your city, you know, you got your mayors, you got your aldermen, you have your city councilmen. You know, that's just government. That's life 101. Right? Then you got your factions of the government too, which would be like the military-industrial complex, right? So all facets of you know, military, the industrial complex, the whole thing: Air Force, Army, Marines, Navy, etc. All them. Okay. Then you have your paramilitary, which would be your more local military. That would be policemen for the cities, right? Sheriffs that run the counties. Okay, that's paramilitary. State patrol, you know, patrolmen, you know, the ones that pull you over when you're speeding on the freeway or something, your lights out or something. That's them, okay? That's paramilitary, okay? So that's the hierarchy. We're following it here. And then you got, you know, things like judges and lawyers, and then you got your you know, your regular Joes down here, your blue collar people, your white collar people working in offices and stuff. You know, we're all humans, just with different levels of, in different places in the power hierarchy. But we're talking about criminal perpetrators, okay? And then so down here at the bottom, you got what? Like your organized crime syndicates, right? They're usually below the paramilitary. Then below them, you got your local street gangs, right? Then below them, you got your regular people in the community that maybe have ties, right? So this is where it comes in. Well, my friend Billy Bob doesn't know, you know, any of those people. Well, how do you know everything? How do you know every person that Billy Bob knows? Are you sure you know every person that Billy Bob knows? Are you sure? Billy Bob don't have an uncle or something, maybe? Maybe that's in the upper ranks? You know, maybe don't have an uncle who's a judge or a lawyer or something, or, you know, maybe you have a friend that was in the military. They weren't in there for that long, but now they have military ties. Oh, now you're getting higher up in that hierarchy. So my point being is this technology exists now at the local level. So people that you think might not have access to this because it is such a high level technology, you wouldn't think Billy Bob and Leroy and Corey and, you know, Steve, or, you know, I'm just throwing out names here, you know, Avon lady. You wouldn't think that they all have, you know, Jason, Melissa. You wouldn't think that they have access to this, right, Mike? They could. Okay. They could. So be aware out there. That's perpetrators, criminal perpetrators who get a hold of remote neural monitoring and get other people put on remote. Why would they do that? Well, sometimes it's for money, right? There's apparently a business in this if you're raping people and whatnot, you know. What else? Power. Some people want to be cool, you know, again with the raping. Maybe somebody thinks it's cool, right? You've seen people like that. Hey, I got this woman, and, you know, I put her on remote, and, you know, I can make her fall asleep, and then we can all go rape her. Or guy. Again, I don't mean to be, you know, exclusive, because this can happen to both, you know. So yeah, this can happen. Friends can become enemies, right? So you never know. Maybe a friend's jealous of you, you know. You're the pretty one. You're the smart one. You went to school, you know. You're kind of annoying to that person for whatever reason. You know, or a guy, he wanted to be your boyfriend and you didn't give him a chance. You know, you rejected him. Uh-oh, now he has a uncle that works for the sheriff's department and they got access to this technology, right? Because it's out here. It's out here, this technology. It exists and it's being used, okay? So now that's how that can happen, okay? Anybody can have access to it. Even people you wouldn't think can have access to it because everybody knows somebody who knows somebody who knows something about it. Seriously. All right. What's my other point here? Perpetrators. I refer to them as perps. That's also a language used in, like, you know, that's just the slang for it. Or the actual definition. Perpetrators. Perps for short, right? Gotta love a P word. Perps. Put a lot of air behind that. What do perps look like? Well, I just told you who they are. I gave you some examples, but here's what, you know, this is a picture of what I've seen them, what they really can appear to be like, okay? Here, shock you. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Who is it? Oh my goodness, look at, oh my goodness, look at it. He is possessed, isn't he? You guys know the story. Well, many of you do, right? Lord of the Rings, which is also symbolic for something else. You know, that's a different video. But anyway, Lord of the Rings movie, and that was the character Smeagol. He used to be a regular guy, a hobbit. Actually, he wasn't, you know, he was a hobbit. This is a fantasy type of movie, you know. He was a hobbit, and he turned evil, and he turned into a little evil, wicked hobbit that ate other hobbits, and he ate everything. Remember, he was eating like goblin, everything, you know, and he would eat it live. He was just a really disturbed, possessed, wicked individual. But he wasn't always either. That was, if you watch the movies, you know, I've watched the movies. They're very symbolic. Be careful if you watch them, though, because I do believe it is a form of spiritism. I've already seen them. I won't watch them again. So, because I don't want to draw that in, you know. You got to keep your environment clean spiritually, you know, physically and spiritually. So I will not watch these anymore. I've seen them once. That's enough. But yeah, so he was pretty much wicked, and but sometimes he, you know, he could be a good guy, or he had good qualities. So when you're thinking of perps, think of this. And I know it's you know, it's not far-fetched though. I mean, people, if they are trying to get you put on remote neural monitoring, like, you know, what if it's somebody that has a drug addiction and they don't mean to hurt you, you know, but they're down on their luck, man, and they can't get a job. They could be a targeted person themselves, you know, they're not getting employment and they're really hard up, and they figured out that they can get you on this and get paid or something, you know, get some type of reward or have cool points, you know, they can be cool now, and it's what they turn into. That remote neural monitoring makes people like this. What has it got in its, what did he say? Now I'm thinking of the movie. It's really freaky. I've been watching that ever since I was a little girl. It used to come on. You know what was funny was it came on around Easter time every year. You know, that and The Wizard of Oz. I don't know why, but it was always around like March. I specifically remember that because whenever they showed him, I would get too scared and I'd have to leave the room and go act like I was asking my mother a question, you know, to try to make her come back in the room with me to watch the movie. And she'd say, oh, why are you watching that? You know, that's nothing. Don't be scared. And, you know, maybe you should turn that. So it was always scary. I mean, he was eating other hobbits. Who does that? He was a cannibal. He was nuts too, man. He wanted that ring. He would fight over it. That's what that remote neural monitoring is like. These people, let me show you again. People turn into this guy. They become nice. They were nice little humans living nice little lives, and they get this remote neural monitoring. I'm laughing, but I'm so serious. And they turn wicked. you know, and they want that remote neural monitoring, the power that comes with it. And you become, you know, they want you as their person to be on remote. You guys watch out for that, okay? Especially tonight, because it's a, you know, Friday, it's the weekend. You want to go out and relax, let down your hair, relax, right? That's what you want to do. You work hard, you want to relax. But be careful, because there are people out there. You're relaxing, they're praying. You know, they're in prey mode, they're in shark mode, you know? So watch it. This is another example. I just thought this was a neat picture, and it sums up some things. There you got your sheeps. There's a lot of sheeps compared to that one. What is that, a weird looking sheep, right? Oh, that one's got a little different looking face or something. Maybe he had a different dad than the rest of them. No, wait. No. Okay. You see it? Did you catch it? He's a wolf. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? He's got a little sheep hat on, okay? Little sheep ensemble, but he is not a sheep. He's pretending. He is a wolf. Wolves eat sheeps. Okay? So it says the most dangerous thing in the world is a fake friend. Okay, right? I think you'd almost rather have an enemy be straight up with you. There's no surprise in it, right? But, you know, there's fake friends out there. Not often, I don't mean to be negative, but let's be real, okay? People can change, right? They can go from being normal, you know, and get pulled into the dark side. I had that happen with somebody I thought was a friend. And it kind of bothers me to this day, because I don't know if he actually truly was a friend to begin with and just went over to the dark side and became like that, or was he always like that and I just didn't know? You know, was he that good? I tend not to think so, though. I almost believe he was in a, you know, Monarch program as well, just based on some things he told me, and, you know, kind of had an obsession with like a Star Wars thing, and that usually is a sign of intense mind control. They use that as one of the programming for training mind control slaves. Anyways, I digress. We'll talk about that another day. We've covered mind control a lot, but we can go over it again. So, but with our key points here, yeah, just want to make sure that you watch out while you're relaxing. They are praying, and they're looking for more people to put on remote. Because let me tell you, there is a 2019 is coming up. That's a new quarter, right? That means, you know, remember that thing that I showed you? So all the money, the funding for these type of things is going to be rolled out. You know, the mind control projects and stuff that are being worked on with the technology is you know, there's a new quarter for it. So new experiments, new guinea pigs are going to be needed. Okay? I'm already a guinea pig, so pretty much. Not that it's, you know, it can't be changed. I'm just an aware guinea pig, okay? So be careful, though, because, you know, the eventual goal, remember, is to get everybody under mass mind control, okay? So it has to start, though, like everything. You do a portion of the population. Then when you find out it, you know, just like medication or whatever, then when you find out it works on that portion, like, oh, okay, well, now we can roll it out on more and more and more and more and more, okay? So new quarter, new funding, more guinea pigs. Like that old zombie movie. I remember there was a zombie and he was like, send us more people. Or yeah. I watched a lot of zombie movies, apparently. It was a big thing in the 80s. Yeah, okay. We're almost done. We're at 53 minutes. I just wanted to say, before we go, I got a list of things to watch out for. Oh, I showed you the picture of the... Let's just look at it one more time. Let's just look at how crazy he is. Look at how, like, I mean, it's sad, too, though. In the movie, they show that. You know, that you got to be sad for somebody when they get to that state of wanting to hurt others, you know, for power, control. So, you know, you feel sorry for them, you do. But you also got to be careful for them. Be careful, you know, so that they don't hurt you while they're in this state. Everybody can be healed, yes. This movie shows that. This movie was pretty darn good. It's very symbolic, though. Heavy on the symbolism. Heavy. But you kind of need to know that a little bit to understand the movie more. It's one of those movies you can watch a lot of times, and you'll always catch something different each time you watch it. So, but yeah, you've seen that picture of the perp, and then I showed you the picture of the sheep, right? The wolf in sheep's clothing. Show it one more time. Okay, everybody's looking the same. Then you got that one friend that's just like, you're like, uh-oh. You know, sometimes your spidey senses usually tingle when you got a friend like that, or even somebody in the midst, right? A new friend. I think there's a song, No New Friends. That's not true, though. A new friend can be nice, too. And old friends can turn this way, too. You could have known somebody your whole life, and they could switch it up on you. Just be aware, okay? Because there's a room full of sheep, or, you know, you're surrounded by sheep, but there's that one wolf watching, waiting. Another example of a perpetrator, a perp. Remember, we're talking about perpetrators who get you put on remote that can affect your life and cause you to get sexually assaulted. Sometimes they'll use something called this, honey. This is a honey pot, okay? This is also a term that you'll hear traffickers use, okay? And what that means is if you picture a pot of honey, okay, and like picture Winnie the Pooh, and if you stick your hand in the, you know, because honey is so good, you're like, oh, I want some. And, you know, you stick your hand in the honey pot, as it were, and then your hand gets stuck, not because of the pot, but because the honey is so sticky, right? Oh, I can't, you know, it's just you're stuck, you know, because you were trapped by the honey pot. So what does that mean? The honey pot is actually a person that is they're sent in to target you, and they will pretend to be your friend, or they'll pretend to be, you know, a potential lover. You know, they like you, especially in the dating, or if you're going out on, you know, on the town with your friends and stuff, you're looking for a new boyfriend or girlfriend. You know, you want to be married eventually. You have to date to do that. You have to meet people. Be careful. We are close to 2019. Those people at the top are sending out their honeypots, right? They're sending them out in the communities to bring in more guinea pigs. Send more guinea pigs, right? I mean, you can't do mind control experiments without minds, okay? And you can't keep doing the same minds. That's boring. You can't keep raping the same people. You know, you want more. 2019, you be careful out there, okay? And another thing about honeypots is they're usually attractive and charming and bubbly. I mean, you don't get picked to be a honeypot if you can't do the job of luring people in. Well, what lures people in? Good looks, charming personality, right? Somebody who's funny, witty, you know, all those things that we naturally like as humans, right? And then you get these people, and then they send them into you if you're targeted, right, to be a guinea pig. So, you know, and then they're going to work you. They're going to work you like a job, right? You've seen them. I know you've seen them. We've all ran into a honeypot in our lives. You know, they're attractive, they're charming, they're, you know, everything you could want. They make you feel good, right? They know how to like juice you up and get you all, make you feel special, right? With their words, okay? Be careful, because if it's too good to be true, it is. Nobody is that nice, and nobody is that charming all the time. And, you know, if you have to think, why is this person coming on so strong, you know, and they pretend to be the answer to everything you need. And then sometimes, you know, if you're picked to be a target, they'll study you beforehand. Oh, sure, they have access to all this. Remember, the power pyramid. So at the top, of course, they have information about us little people. You know, they know our names, they know our social security numbers, they know where we work, they know our level of education, you know. So they know things, especially if they have access to remote neuromonitoring. They know exactly what makes us tick, you know, whatever your type of person is. Okay, if they know you like a hot stud, guess who they're going to send into you, right? They know what you like. You like a tall guy. You like a, you know, some people like a really athletic, muscular guy. Some women want a smart guy, right? A professor, you know. I'm trying to think, an athlete, right? A businessman, whatever it is that works for you, that's what you'll get. And that could end up being a costly mistake, because once they target you and get you into this get you put on remote, you know, it is very dangerous and they're attempting to make mind control slaves is what they're doing. So you could be a regular person and they will try to turn you into a mind controlled slave. you know, turning you into a sex slave, right? You're being raped at night for 2 hours at night, you know, especially when you're single. You're sleeping at home alone. You think you're sleeping at home alone. Well, they're logging into your brain and making you unconscious and gang raping you. Now, how insulting is that if you don't even have a spouse or a boyfriend or girlfriend of your own? You know, your body is yours. This program, this remote neural monitoring is highly powerful and highly dangerous, and it is in the hands of criminals, and we need legislation on it, okay? So, but first, before we can even talk about legislation, we have to be aware of it. So if this is the first time you're ever hearing about remote neural monitoring and the capabilities of it, I thank you, and I encourage you to look more into it. Do not let cognitive dissonance take over you. Cognitive dissonance is a fancy psychological term for denial. That's when your brain, when somebody is telling you something that is so threatening to your sense of self, to your safety. What I'm telling you right now is the honest to God truth. It's fact. There is proof of it. You know, it exists. This is not science fiction. It's a science fact. Okay? So what the brain has a tendency to do is to protect itself and go into denial. You know, some people can handle information. I like to think I'm one of those. You know, I can handle things, but I've had a varied life. You know, and some people don't feel bad if that happens. It is, you know, I do still get that from time to time with some things. They're so shocking to the human, you know, to our sense of self and our sense of safety that we don't want to believe it. But this is true, and this is, so don't go into cognitive dissonance. Don't go into shock here. This is real. This is happening. It's okay. We're going to get through it. First, before we can get through it, though, we have to talk about it, right? Before laws are made on things, you have to start the conversation, okay? So we're heading into 2019. They're getting more guinea pigs, whether you like it or not, or whether you believe it or not. You know, it's happening. So, you know, let's get with it, guys. I know you can. I know you're smart. And I know this is a lot of information. And I know it's powerful and intense information. But we're powerful. We're intense. We're strong. We can handle this, right? We're humans. God built us sturdy. Okay? So thank you for watching this. I encourage you to keep doing more research on this. Okay? Keep talking about it to others so that people in the community know about it so they won't, as much as possible, fall victim to this. All right? One more thing. You guys are probably wondering again why this is all being done. This remote neural monitoring, mind control research. It's for something like this. This is usually the culprit. This is usually where the money comes from. Training, research, and development. That is basically training and research for weapons. Usually is done by, you can imagine, you know, military industrial complex, universities, right? Schools, that type of thing. People who are testing and they're researching and developing weaponry, right? And this is a psychotronic weapon. Okay? It's to monitor people, to surveillance them, to stalk them. That's what it is. You don't want to be stalked, do you? I sure don't. But all right, I want to go over with you. We're at an hour. We will, I'm just going to take a little bit more of your time. If you have to pause this for any reason, pause it and come back. You know, YouTube has that feature where you can mark save for later or watch later. You can do that. You know, I usually leave mine up in the screen. But if you need to, watch later. Come back when you have more time. You know, split it up. It's a long video. I apologize, but it's such important info. We're almost done, though. And I got a treat for you at the end. Okay? Risk factors. We're going to hop right into this, okay? I wrote it out. Probably won't be able to see it. But there are 7 points that I wanted to bring out. I might have already said it, but I'm going to say it again. These are the risk factors for being put on remote, which later causes you to get sexually assaulted. Being single and being female are higher risk factors. Not always. You know, this can happen to people in relationships. Maybe if the spouse or whatever is working, or you guys work different hours. You know, whatever it is, when you're home alone, that's when they attack. Okay? They want to get you when you're sleeping. Remember that. That's when they can log in to that special moment when your brain goes into that sleep state. And then they can come in. Goon Squad style. You ever heard of that song, Gangnam Style? Goon style. Goon Squad style. Not pleasant, let me tell you. That's all right, though. We're going to get legislation, right, guys and girls? Right? Yes. Yes, we are. Why? Because we're smart and we're strong. And that's what we do here, right? We make law, we get laws made. Otherwise, criminals will flourish. Okay? That's why civil rights movement, and you hate to have to think of it in those terms, but it's getting to the point where we need to think about that, and we need to get some laws started. Otherwise, I fear for the new people that are going to be put on this. It's this program has been so advanced and so successful in 2018. You know that they're going to add more in 2019, and it's just horrible. I know that there's going to be younger people put on remote and be raped from this. And the younger a person is, the less they're able to handle something like this. No matter what age, could be doing it to elderly people. I mean, you have some sick people. I seen an article just recently right here in our town, the MKE, a couple years back, but still, it was kind of a shocking story that you remember. A man raped a woman that was 101 years old. Raped her, broke in her house to rob her, and then raped her. 101 years old. You've lived your life. You've had your kids. You have grandkids. You have great-grandkids. You ain't hurt nobody. You're basically kind of just waiting and living out your life peacefully until you croak, right? I mean, at that point, your husband's probably passed, obviously, because she was at home alone. And this guy, for whatever reason, breaks in and rapes a 101-year-old woman, And then, so that's not saying that he can't be forgiven and he can't be healed. But what if he keeps on doing, he's imprisoned now, so I forget for how long, but, he needs to be there for a while to do something like that. So people, that have criminal minds, they have to be rehabilitated. So they're not like that. And if they can't be rehabilitated, then they need to sit away from the rest of us. Right? I say that with not being a hypocrite and not being judgmental. If you can change, do your time and then change. We all can. God gives us that. But if you can't change and if you're a criminal, then you need to get away from the rest of us. All right? Yes. You guys agree? We need laws, though. Criminals don't listen to nice talk. Criminals need boundaries set for them. Okay? That's what we're doing. It's actually a loving action to help someone who's unable or unwilling at the time to set boundaries for themselves. You have to set them for them. Yeah. All right. So the risk factors, being single and being a woman, or having a spouse with different hours. Anytime where you're at home alone sleeping, that is a risk factor. Okay. Because that's when they come in. Not saying that it's just female or just single, but in general, those are more often targeted. All right. Associations. This is your friends, knowing people or knowing of people, knowing people of people, who have ties to crime syndicates, local motorcycle gangs or other gangs, specifically human traffickers. I had a friend once, lovely friend, and she had a husband, nice guy on the outside, but he was involved in some really weird things. Now, I was never his friend. He wasn't my friend. She was my friend. But because he figured that he knew me somehow through her, and he had some really weird friends, I'm talking pimps and, people who are, animal trafficking and stuff like that. Those are not my kind of people. But now, because I was around her, and she was nice and fine and everything, but now I knew them by indirect association, you see? So had I known that, what I know now, I would not have befriended her. So pay attention to that, guys. I know you don't want to be judging people and telling people not to be part of your life, but this is about your safety. So know your friends and know their spouses and their boyfriends and girlfriends and their cousins, the people they're around. Know them too. Because even if your friend doesn't, get you put on remote, their weirdo husband or boyfriend or cousin or uncle or son or something, friend of a friend and a cousin, these people know people that can get you put on remote, and you don't want to get raped, right? No. Okay. Let's see. The third thing as a risk factor would be lust and opportunity. All right. So this is just, remember, crimes of opportunity, especially when you're single. They take that as a green light. Nobody's there to protect her. So we can, treat her how we want to treat her. Right? Because once you're unconscious, you can't fight for yourself. And that's the horror of this technology, is that it puts you into an unconscious state where you can't fight back anymore. It's powerful. Psychotronic weapon. Okay, because the mind controls the body, right? So they control your mind, make you go to sleep, make you unconscious. Now they've got control over your body. Not good. All right. So lust and opportunity. Is your husband or boyfriend or girlfriend or wife going out of town? Are you taking a quick nap before your hubby gets home? You know, we do that sometimes, especially in this world. We're busy. We're tired. You know, you go to take a little afternoon nap or something. If they're watching you, remember, it's remote neural monitoring. So they have access to you at all times. They know where you're at. They know what you're thinking. They can tell by your brainwave activity. Oh, she's taking a nap. Perfect. And if they know what time your husband or boyfriend gets home, well, they know how much time that they have. These people are sneaky. Oh, yeah. They watch like hawks. That's why I'm here. Okay? I'm helping you. I'm letting you know. Okay? Like the scripture said, we can't be ignorant of Satan's devices, his designs. You know, we have to be innocent like doves, but wise like a serpent. You don't want to be a serpent, but you want to be able to think like them, right? Think like the enemy. Think like them. Don't be like them, but think like them. How would they do this? When would they do this? When you're alone. So, you know, be careful too if you're going on things like vacation. You're going out of town. Are you going to be alone in a hotel or a motel room? Yeah, remember, they have remote neural monitoring. They have access to you inside out. You're a giant surveillance. You know, they're seeing with your eyes. They can see the address on the building of the motel you're checking into, right? Advanced technology. 21st century stuff. Okay, what's another risk factor? Unrequited love, right? You know, love makes people act in strange ways. You know, we're talking about the ex-boyfriends, or could even be from a long time ago. You thought it was over and it ended well. They still have a crush for you, or they, you know, want to reconcile or rekindle. You know, this is normal stuff, but if they're an unbalanced person and criminally minded, well, now they can get you put on remote. Maybe they're a nice person, but maybe they have a weird brother or cousin. Again, here we go with associations, you know. The guy you dated was nice, but his brother was a real creep, right? A real depraved individual. Well, now they know you by association. See? See how this goes? All right. Maybe you got a perverted landlord or neighbors, you know. If you're a single woman or a single man, you live in an apartment, you know, there's people, they see you coming, they see you going, they start liking you, they start getting a crush on you, you know, they're watching you from afar. This is dangerous, right? Because they shouldn't know you that well. But if they know somebody who knows somebody, they can get you put on remote. Okay, to get you raped. Do you have maybe perverted family and friends? Sometimes you never know. That uncle or that cousin, you know, you thought was always nice. Maybe they got a little sex porn habit or something. Maybe there's some freaky stuff, right? You never know. People do freaky stuff. Maybe they like to choke people, or they're into, you know, that weird type of sexual, I don't know, sexual behaviors that people can get into, malfunctioning sexual behaviors, you know, choking and tying and things like that, you know, cult-based type of things, you know. Yeah. So you never know. You getting too big for your britches for your family? You know, you the one that went to school, huh? Miss Goody Two-Shoes? Mr. Goody Two-Shoes? You think you're better than the rest of us? Crabs in a bucket, right? We can't get out, you can't get out. Okay, you think you're so special? You talk different, you act different? We'll show you. We know friends. We can get you put on remote. Then we'll get you raped. Now let's see you, Miss Goody Two-Shoes, huh? Telling you. I don't mean to use, you know, always refer to females, because it can happen to men too, you know. Be aware. You see, these are risk factors. Some people just want to hurt and dominate you. You know, somebody could be on the low end of totem pole in life, in their eyes, you know, or in society's eyes, and they want to dominate somebody. You know, life beat them up. Life does do that. I used to think you could always, you know, pull yourself up by your bootstraps and it'll be fine. You know, that's not always true. Because we're living in a world ruled by Satan, even though Jehovah God has the final say so. You know, the world is lying in the power of the wicked one, is 1 John 5:19, but there's a second part to that scripture, you know, take heed or something, for I have conquered the world. So I have to get that. I'll quote that for you next time. But you guys know the story of the Bible, those of you who study Christianity. And it's quite obvious when you look at the world that there is a satanic element functioning, you know, in our society that permeates it. Okay. So knowing that, just be able to, you know, people sometimes get low on their luck and they turn into, like I showed you that picture, Smeagol, they turn into a little perp, you know, maybe they started out nice and now they're just, you know, be careful. They still don't have the right to put you on remote. It's illegal. And then have you raped. It's illegal. Okay. So we need to talk about it in legislation. I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm repeating myself for emphasis. So I'm kind of doing it on purpose. It's a tool. It's a method. So, because we're humans, we forget stuff, especially with all these EMFs pumping in the air, you know, you might, from one second to the next, it's hard to remember things. So it's good. Repetition is good. It's good for retention. Repetition is the mother of retention. All right. What else are risk factors? 2 more. Training, research, and development that we talked about. That is something you cannot avoid. You know, we're guinea pigs. We're guinea pigs and the world is a laboratory. So, you know, think like, do you have maybe medical personnel? Sometimes we'll put people on, you know, on remote, you know, doctor, dentist, psychiatrist, you know, sometimes they get contracts, you know, from the big corporations to put people, you know, to make them guinea pigs, to test this stuff. You know, it's training, research, and development. Training, keyword, testing. They're testing these things, you know, technology. Who are they testing them on? Well, it's a mind control psychotronic weapon, so you'd have to test it on the mind. You're not going to use a monkey and a dog all the time. You're going to use people. So I digress. You know, there's a lot of ways you can get put on remote. It can be done by lower level people, you know, or it could be done by the upper level. Training, research, and development. Cities and counties get big grants all the time. Like I said, 2019 is coming up. So there'll be more grants and more funding for more guinea pigs. Now that you watch this video, you have an idea, right? Okay, so watch your associations. I'll say it again. Especially people that you're dating, especially spouses and dating partners. You know, those honey traps, man, they'll get you every time, right? I think most of us are suckers for love, especially in a world we want to, you know, that's the normal desire of most people, not all people, but most people. Yeah, you want to link up with another person, and you want to get married and live happily ever after, right? It's what we want. We don't always get it, and that's okay too. You know, it's not, you don't have to have it. It's not air. It's not water. But still, we'd like it, right? It makes life a little bit more interesting and enjoyable. Not only do you have one mind, you know, with all those EMFs, then you meet somebody else and you got them with all their EMFs, and then you can join them and talk about them. And oh my goodness, right? It's fun. It's awesome. So I understand the need, the desire to link up and to find a partner. Just be careful because, you know, these people, they know how we tick. They know that we want that. You know, that's why spies and stuff are always, you know, attractive honeypots. You know, you watch the James Bond stuff. I've never really watched James Bond, but I know of it, of course. And so, you know, honeypots are often used. You know, it's always sexy women, and, you know, they're there to lure James Bond into whatever trap that they're plotting for him. So same thing with this. If somebody wants to get you on remote, sometimes they will use a honeypot to do it. Honeypot, attractive person of the opposite sex that you will be attracted to. That way they can get all into your life. They don't always have to be super attractive either. I want to point that out. It's desirable to the person. And remember, a lot of times the people targeting you, they will know what you find desirable because why? Because they know what you're thinking. I know. They know you better than you know yourself, huh? Imagine if they use this power for good. They could really be matchmakers, boy. Right? It's not the way it works. Not this video. We can talk about that, though. What it should be, right? What it could be used for. Because it is. There are some, you know, it is being used for some good purposes, too. All right. We're at an hour and 18 minutes. One last thing we're going to cover is, okay, this whole video was focused on what remote neural monitoring is and what being put on remote is, the fact that it can lead to stalking and eventually rapes. And we talked about the people who are doing it, the perps, on how they come in all levels, all shapes and sizes, all ends of the power hierarchy. And we talked about risk factors to avoid getting put on remote in the first place. That's not always avoidable, though. It's just not, you know, there's obviously where they're doing training, research, and development. They're adding guinea pigs. You just get picked, you know, just like when somebody goes deer hunting. You know, one deer is going to get picked by a hunter to become venison and deer jerky. The deer can't help it. It's got picked, you know, just the circumstances. So don't feel bad if you get on it. You know, it's a way to work around it, and there's a way to still be successful. But it's good starting out first. You still want to know about it. So let's say you got put on remote. Okay, darn it, they got you. The honeypot got you. Your darn doctor, you know, you got a new doctor. The dang doctor got you on it. Your cousin's ex-girlfriend got you on it. Oh my goodness, you know, your angry family member got you on it. You know, they didn't mean to, but now you're on it. Darn it. But that's okay. It's okay. Trust me, it's okay. What are the signs, though, to know that you're on remote? Okay, because remember, this is remote neural monitoring. I'm going to show you the picture one last time just to give you an emphasis. We're almost done here. Remember our key points. All right. And we're at the bottom. Risks and signs. Okay. Remote neural monitoring, being put on remote. All right, so say you're put on remote. You think you are anyways. What are some of the signs that are telltale signs that'll let you know? Okay, because remote neural monitoring is the ability to remotely monitor thoughts and emotions. Also, they can be sent back in, those same thoughts and emotions at different times. I'll give the example, I want ice cream. They know because they monitored me what my brain thinks when I want ice cream. So they have that code now. Whenever they want to, they can send that code in to me out of the blue. Boom, I want ice cream. And then my brain, I can't tell the difference. Although I'm getting better because, you know, if you're on it, you kind of get, you will know, you'll kind of know when it's sent in. Not all the time, but sometimes you'll know. It'll come across as like a compulsion. Like, I gotta have ice cream. You know, almost like I would think like a person who is addicted to drugs would be that type of, it's a compulsion because it's not your own creation. It's not your own thought, right? It's being sent back into you. Okay, so your brain, after having it done so many times, you will start to notice if you get put on remote. Okay, so remote neural monitoring. What are the signs of it being on remote? All right, one of the signs, there's 9 of them. The first sign is being extremely tired all the time to the point of like you look like you got narcolepsy. Whatever that, remember that Deuce Bigelow, male gigolo movie, and he dated one of the girls and she kept like falling asleep all the time? I guess that's a real diagnosis. So, if you're put on remote, you know, you got to figure the people who are doing this are targeting you. You know, they've picked you. And if you're, for many reasons, you're tired all the time. For one thing, when you're going to sleep at night in your bed, like a child of God, your sleep is being interrupted, right? You're being put into an altered state. So your brain's not getting that restful sleep. And then you're being raped, right? You're being raped. How can you get sleep when you're being raped? Even if you end up going to sleep afterwards, it's not your same hours of sleep that you would have got had these goon squads not raped you, right? So you're going to be tired. That's also a common theme if you see people that are trafficked. If you ever see somebody, and don't laugh at them, you know, if you see somebody that's like falling asleep a lot or constantly tired, that's a sign something is wrong. You know, not necessarily organically. You know, remember, we're living in the age of psychotronic weapons. These EMFs in the air, they're broadcast. They can be forcefully broadcasted into our own brain. Signals, right? Your brain runs on signals. The broadcast runs on signals. So you use one signal to manipulate another one. So that's one of the signs, somebody being extremely tired all the time. Another sign, electromagnetic frequency assaults. So what will happen in this case is they will attack your sleep pattern right when you get ready to fall asleep. Now remember, because they're remotely monitoring. So they can see your brain waves. They can tell exactly when you're going into that state of sleep. So what they'll do, if they're really SOBs, which obviously they are, we're talking criminals here, you know, they're playing in people's brains. Even if it's done for training, research, and development, I mean, you know, you're still playing in somebody's brain. Okay? So what they have the ability to do is to interrupt your sleep pattern. When you fall asleep, it's a sleep deprivation. It's a torture tactic, right? Right away when you fall asleep, oh, boom, you're woken up. And then also to go one level further, if they have people, well, this is going to be in a different video. I'll cover that in a different video. All right. The EMF that they use to do that, they nicknamed it the caffeine jolt. You know, so it'll basically wake you up from your sleep state. Okay, so if you notice this happening to yourself, you know, overly often, could be a sign. All right, third thing would be a sign is having your thoughts remotely read, feeling like you're being watched, direct conversations about your private activities, you know, people knowing your private information that you never told them, right? Or that you never even told anyone. You just thought it, right? Well, I only thought that, you know, about that. I never mentioned that. Did I know? How did they know? Well, because the technology exists, and it has been existed since the 1970s, our thoughts can be remotely read. Our thoughts and our emotions can be read. So whoever's at the computer thing reading them can then give the information, or it could be that person themselves, but usually it's organized, so they pass on the information, and then they purposely go in front of you and talk about your private thoughts. And it's trippy because you're like, oh, how do they know that? Am I going crazy? No, you're not going crazy. Remote neural monitoring. Okay, it exists. It's here. It's been here since the 70s. All right. Electronic disturbances in your home. Again, we're talking signals, electromagnetic frequencies. The brain runs on them, the body runs on them. All electronics run on them. You know, computer, Wi-Fi, cell phones, TVs, radios, microwave ovens, smart meters that are on the outside of every home. I think it pretty much allows access to the electricity in the home, how it can be manipulated. So they can make things happen like the you know, lights flashing on and off. I know I had a family member, and she kept saying her water, when she was in the shower, kept turning on and off, you know, and she always, without her touching it, you know, and she thought that it might be like, you know, spiritual harassment, because that happens for us Christians. We understand, you know, if you believe in the true God, then you believe in the good angels, then you believe in Satan the devil, and you believe in the bad angels. And depending if you're doing things that draw them into you, or if you're, you know, something like watching a scary movie or playing with a Ouija board, or, you know, there's spiritism, even certain music and movies will definitely draw them in. That's okay. You can get rid of them. You have to let them know they're not welcome and get out of your space in the name of Jesus. Okay. And they run because they know that they have to. So, spiritual harassment is a real thing, and it could have been that in her case, could have been. But also too, if you're on remote neural monitoring, that they have the ability to cause electronic disturbances in your home with every outlet, basically, even with plumbing. So make your toilet come on, you know, make the water start running at a certain time, make the shower go on and off, make all the lights go on and off, you know. So, and I'm sharing this because, you know, to some people, if they don't understand this technology, and if they're not spiritually taught on how to, you know, rid wicked spirits, which basically is very simple. Jehovah just tells us we need to call on him, and he gives us the power to tread over scorpions and snakes, and we can pray for him in the name of Jesus to have those spirits leave us alone, and they will every time. Okay, so that's a possibility that can happen. Electronic disturbances and spiritual harassment. Okay, that's a different video though. But it's possible. You know, really all is linked, but different video. Okay, another thing. This is a big one. Fake tinnitus. Tinnitus is a ringing sound in your ear. If you notice, I work in the medical field, and then also if you like go to a clinic, or even like if you have your eyes checked, or you go to the dentist, they have you fill out the form, you know, for insurance, you know, have you had this, have you had that, you ever broke something, blah, blah, blah. Always one of the questions, and right at the top, they'll ask if you've ever had tinnitus. And I've noticed in my years, I've been noticing that question more and more frequently. So just to clarify, tinnitus is a ringing in your ear. Okay. Now remember, hearing is not necessarily from the ears. It's from the audio cortex, right, in your brain. So if a electromagnetic frequency is being beamed on that, that can give you the sound of tinnitus. There's also a special machine called SSS. I'm going to be doing a video on that actually next. That's my next video. It's going to be a real short one. I keep saying that. It is though. This one's almost we're at 1 hour and 30 minutes. Thank you. It's good info though, right? You need to know it. So anyways, fake tinnitus, it could be, you know, a direct energy electromagnetic frequency being pulsed on your audio cortex, which would cause that. So it's not organic. Okay. It's harassing you. All right. Visual disturbances and visual hallucinations. Again, why is that? Well, because remote neural monitoring, like we talked about, gives access to your visual. Remember, the visual cortex is back here. It's funny because our eyes are in the front, but our visual cortex is in the back. Okay, remember I showed you that picture of the brain with all the different areas? So all you have to do to disturb somebody's vision, right, is to send a pulse at that the cortex. So, you know, you can cause somebody to hallucinate. And again, if somebody is not aware of this technology, they might be thinking they're under, you know, spiritual harassment. Not that that can't happen too. Another side note, did you know that the spiritual world operates on frequencies too? Makes sense, right? It's all connected. It's all connected. So yeah, so it can give you a hallucination. And this can be scary, especially, you know, we've been taught, you know, mental illness, if you're seeing things, if you're hearing things. Well, it could be mental illness, or it could be a psychotronic weapon that's being training, research, and development is being, you know, done on you. So keep that in mind. Another sign of this would be acting like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. You know, that's like, you know, you're your normal self, you're regular, you're living, you know, you're peaceful, you're okay. And then all of a sudden you turn into like, you know, Mr. Hyde, like a monster, right? Like you're talking different, you're talking aggressive, you're talking, and I'm not talking regular anger, okay? Because I know people have probably seen me, okay? Being assaulted can make your aggression levels rise. Obviously, if somebody's raping you, you're not going to be, you know, Mrs. Nicey Nice. That'd actually be dangerous. You're not supposed to be nicey nice when that's going on, all right? But I'm talking about just without any provocation. But it would be provocation because you think if this is happening to this person, you know, they're tired, they can't sleep, their thoughts are being watched, their, you know, their conversations are being monitored, and, you know, they're picking on by keep bringing it up, you know, like, I know your private thoughts. That's infuriating, right? Because nobody should know your private thoughts except for who? Except for you. You own your body. You own your brain. It's how it always has been. But we're entering into a different era. Okay, which is why this video is important. Your time is valuable, and so is the information in this video. So thank you for sticking it out. Thank you. Really. Happy Friday. For those of you still there. Some of you probably turned it off. Like, oh. But for those of you still with me, happy Friday. Good info, yeah? All right. So we're still talking about signs of being on remote. So Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. And then another thing too, I'll just say this. You can look like when you're on remote and you're being harassed and stalked like this, because remember, it's a psychotronic weapon. The name, you know, the purpose is right in the name. Remote neural monitoring. Remember, monitoring, surveillance, same thing. Surveillance, stalking, I mean, same thing, right? One person calls it surveillancing, one person calls it stalking. I mean, you're looking at my thoughts and my emotions and you're sending them back into me, and you're kind of stalking me. Oh, and we're just surveillancing you. We're just monitoring. Okay. Potato, potato. Interchangeable, yeah? All right. So when you have these things going on, all those things I mentioned, it's going to look like you maybe have a flaming mental illness. You're going to feel like it too if you don't know what's going on, if you don't watch this video, or if you don't understand remote neural monitoring. You might feel like it because this is all such bizarre things. I mean, think of it. You're tired all the time. Your thoughts are being read. You're being watched. People are repeating your thoughts to you, your private thoughts. There's electronic disturbances going on in your home. You got fake tinnitus in your ears. Your ears are ringing. You know, you got maybe visual disturbances, and, you know, you're not feeling yourself. It could come across as you look like you got a flaming mental illness, right? Like you are just, but you don't. You don't. We're just living in an age of advanced technology. This is not science fiction. This is science fact. You can look it up. You know, like it or not, this is what we're living with right now. This is the technology. And it's gotten into hands of people, you know, criminal-minded perpetrators that do not need access to this and are using it for things like rape. So, and to harass people. So if these are some of the signs, it's going to look like you and feel like maybe you have a flaming mental illness. So you don't. You don't. It's called remote neural monitoring. They can read our thoughts. They can send them back into us, and they can get access to our visual, audio, and motor cortex to move our body, see from our eyes, hear from our ears. So no, you're not crazy. Okay? Sad thing. This is done often, all the time. When somebody is targeted to be on remote, you know, they're the unlucky guinea pig who got chosen for whatever training, research, and development, and whatever local goons are stalking them, you know, the goon squad. This is sad because this is done all the time to the person. When you're a targeted person, and I'm going to do a video on that as one of the last 2 chapters in the book of guinea pigs, but when you're a targeted person, you never get a break. You know, and there's actually a handbook that tells how to target people. We'll get into that later. But basically, they are monitoring you. They are monitoring you 24. Oh, I got a Facebook message. Okay, wonderful. Get out of here. You know what? I think I'm going to have to unfriend him. You know, and perps. But so when you're a guinea pig, you get targeted all the time at home. When you go out into the community, when you're online, when you're, you know, living life. The point that they want to do is, remember, this is for mass mind control. Okay, they want to control people. Okay, they want to, and one of the ways to control people is to, I forget what the term is, but you're monitoring them, and you want to let them know they're being monitored. You want to make people, the people who are targeting a person, want to make them think, and they want to let them know, hey, we're in your head. We're here all the time. We're here when you wake up. We're here when you go to sleep. We're here online with you. We're at work with you. We're in the community. You know, it's a mental prison. It's the terminology for it in psyops. You know, the actual term used is called building a mental prison for people. Pretty sick. So you want them to think it's a prison without walls, right? It's your brain. Your brain is in a prison. You can't get away from these people, right? Because why? Because they have remote neural monitoring. They can be inside. They know what you're thinking. They know what you're feeling. They can send thoughts into you that are not, you know, not your own. You didn't want that thought of ice cream at that moment. You didn't want that emotion of sadness or anger or happiness at that moment. What if you're at a serious place? All of a sudden you get the urge to giggle. Okay. So, you know, these things is, you know, they're building a mental prison. And what's scary about this, people, is that this is not just going to be used on a few people of the population. That's not why billions of dollars is being pumped into this program. It's not for just a few people. They want it for everybody. You get it? Everybody get on the remote, right? It could be a song. Get on remote. Get on remote. Come on, come on. Get on remote. It's not fun, though. Take it from me. I would know. It's not fun. Yeah. So, I'm telling you this message to make people aware for those who are a victim of remote neural monitoring and they're actually on remote and are not aware of it. You know, our thoughts should and our support should go out to them. This is a form of support, watching these type of videos. Trust me, you'll feel better. I hope you do. That's my goal, right? We're all in this together. So yeah, how many false mental health diagnoses you have to think were made because of this technology being researched and developed? You know, you think about the people in the past that were saying things that are, you know, this program can do. You know, the TV's watching me. People can read my thoughts. They're repeating my private thoughts to me. You know, da-da-da. And, you know, in years past when we didn't know this technology existed yet, you know, some of us, a lot of us, we didn't know. So when somebody spoke like that, you go, well, geez, you know, that sounds like you're not, you know, But now we realize, wow, this technology has been around since the 1970s. They have been able to read thoughts and emotions and send them back in. And the TV can watch you. Look at how am I talking to you right now? Of course it can, right? It's a transmitter. It can receive transmissions and it can send them, signals. So my goodness, our thoughts and prayers have to go out to those people. And I bet they're looking at technology now and like, see, I knew I wasn't crazy. And now we can say, oh, sorry, you're not crazy. We just didn't understand the technology at that time. Now we do. We won't make that mistake again, okay? Don't ever underestimate the enemy. All right, we got to be done here. We've covered a lot. I want to read one more. I want to read a scripture to you. We covered this a couple times, but I'll say it again because it's a good one. It's in 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. That's 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. I believe this is Paul talking. A lot of the New Testament was Paul. Because, yeah, he was the one that was doing his missionary tour, right? Remember in Corinth, and then he had Timothy, and then they went to, Galatia and all that, right? What is the acronym for the New Testament books? Go eat popcorn. So it's Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, and Corinthians. Go eat popcorn. See? I learned that from the people I studied the Bible with, Jehovah's Witnesses. They told me that. They're so smart. There's also some other stuff. I love them. At the lower levels, they are wonderful, wonderful, and have an awesome Bible study program, okay? So anyway, 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11, it says, this is from the King James Version, so it says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices, okay? So saying we should not let Satan get an advantage of us. Okay, we're not going to let him. Because why? Because we are not ignorant of his devices, his plans, his scheme, his plotting, his covert activity, hiding the fact that this technology exists. We're not falling for it. No, we're not ignorant. Sell that story to somebody else. Sing it to somebody else, sister, because we know what's going on with remote neuromonitoring. Okay, we know technology. That's half the battle is knowing, right? Okay, we're not ignorant of his devices. He is seeking to destroy us, right? And you remember, and this comes from the Bible too, there's a scripture that says that you should be as wise as a serpent, but as innocent as a dove. And I'm doing hand signals, and a lot of these are like, I just like using my hands for, don't you guys like that? I mean, like your fingers are all like decorative and da-da-da-da, right? You just can talk more with them. There's 10 of them too, so you can really get some action in there. Love them. Love fingers. Not the thumbs though so much. What can you do with, they're important, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying, for signaling and all that. Well, actually, no, the thumbs are kind of anchors. I'm not doing anything weird with my hand signals here. I'm just using them for emphasis. And I like using my fingers. 10 of them. Wonderful. Thank you, Jehovah, for the 10 fingers, right? We're wondrously made in his image. Truly. So we are not ignorant of what's going on, and we need to be able to be as wise as serpents, but innocent like doves. Okay, so that's saying we know how to think. We have to know how to think like the enemy. We got to be able to think like a serpent, right? Because we don't want to get bit. You don't want to get caught off guard, because they're preying. But at the same time, you want to be able to keep your innocence and still serve God and be the good person that you were born to be, and then you want to know what the enemy is thinking though, right? We're not ignorant of his devices. So we know this technology exists now. We know. All right. And we're not ignorant of it. I like this little picture here. Is that upside down? Oops. Don't want to give you an upside down picture. Yeah, so I think I pictured that as the Bible, and if you see all those hands behind her, that reminds me of when you're on remote neuromonitoring, the spirit realm, and then also, the actual humans who assault you, they're coming for you. They want your soul, and what you have to do to protect yourself is to get knowledge. So this book could be the Bible. That's a good place to get knowledge, right? And then also it could be other books, other, nonfiction, informative books that help you understand the world that we're living in and the technology that's being used to assault us, to assault, well, and insult too. You know, assault, insult, abuse, all of it. You know, our minds, who we are. So we'll leave off. I'm going to say my same thing I say all the time. Be smart, which you are. You guys are some smarties. Do your research. Please do your research. Do it, do it, do it. And thank you. You know what? I just realized I promised you guys something. I promised you guys there was a special thing tonight. Oh, yes. You know what I did? I made a song. It's just, no, like a verse, okay? It's a rap verse, really. It's a little rap verse. And you know, I know what you're thinking. Like, Sherry, as much as you talk... Hey. You know I love my people. My people be tripping sometimes. Love them back. You know, that's okay. Anyways, you want to hear my rap? It's good. It's good. Or it could be just a regular musical verse. I'm gonna try to get it out and have it flow. Okay, so let me get it together here. Hang on. My throat's dry. Go figure at this moment, right? I'm still get it out. I'm gonna get it out. I promised you a song. You're getting a song. You're getting a verse. Okay. Well, Sherry B, living in the MKE, where we have good paying jobs, nice buildings, and great sports teams. But as for me, I just sit and watch and try to live humbly and peacefully. But all these damn perps swarming me like bees. But no one said it would be easy. Living in the 21st century, my situation is hard, but I do partially blame me. What can I do? Born into the MKE. Right? MKE? Mind control experiment. Oh, excuse me. Milwaukee. Milwaukee. That's what we're talking about. Okay. So, life's a treat in the MKE. Life's a beach in the MKE. We do have a good beach. Maybe I'll find someone just for me in the MKE. Maybe, just maybe, in the MKE. Milwaukee. Milwaukee. MKE. There you go. That was my song. That was my rapper song, or whatever you want to call it. Is it like poetry, maybe? Ooh, yeah. Okay, I like poetry, kind of. I hope that's not a corny one, though, right? That was a good one. You get it? Life's the beach in the MKE. And we got a beach in the MKE. Yeah, it was good. I think it was good. You tell me, though. You guys, I know that people have been viewing these videos. I know that you have. Okay? I like you. You guys we're good, right? We're connecting here. Can you hit like and subscribe if you want to see more of this? You don't have to comment. If you do want to comment, though, please do. I would love to hear it, and I want to hear what you like. You know, maybe I want to hear your little rap verses or your songs or whatever, your pictures, your cat videos. What, you know, maybe you want to share some stuff. I want to see it. I'm always interested. Okay. I enjoy you guys. You are so wonderful. You are so smart. Be safe out there, okay? Be smart. Do your research. And God loves us all, doesn't he? Okay. Thank you. Have a good night. Enjoy your Friday.